what you were looking for. Yeah. You are in the right place. Brother Seamus Show. Thanks for tuning in today. Happy Saturday to everybody. We've got a lot to talk about today. I will keep the tunes on throughout most of the show. If you're new here to the Brother Seamus situation, I like to talk with some tunes. Sometimes I bring it down to a more churchy vibe. But well, it looks like I broke the editor again, so I can't cut to my other camera. That's what happens, folks, when you press the button too fast. Yeah. If you're the CEO of OBS, the broadcasting software, if you're the CEO of OBS, I'm pretty sure there is no CEO of OBS. I want a device. If you're watching this show and you're a techie and you're into gadgets, I want a device that I can dance with. So it's going to have to be battery operated. I prefer battery operated. It doesn't have to be battery operated, but I'd prefer a battery operated piece of hardware that will switch. We'll just do simple video switching, maybe a couple of effects, I don't care. Presets, whatever you got. But I want to be able to dance with it and hold it in my hand and not have it plugged in to a gosh dang USB port. I've had enough of the USB ports. I'm going to have to get up. I usually start my shows sitting down. And, oh boy, it looks like it just keeps jacking with my phone number. I'm sure you can see it. I didn't want you to see that phone number that big. But here we are. And I'm going to go ahead and try to cut. Oh, there, we're back. Hey! OBS is back, folks. It's not easy being the talent. You know, put that in quotes. But it's not easy being the talent and the editor and the sound guy and the control room guy and the guy that brings me my coffee. Guy or gal. I feel like we should opt to make the word guy gender neutral. If you're with me, vote. Get out today and vote for gender neutrality, I would argue. It's a healthier way to be, I would argue. Evolution wants you to be able to zig and zag. If we were too locked into our genders, it makes us more vulnerable as a species. Increased flexibility is always a good thing, but that's not what today's show is about. Today's show, I pause as I get ready to do some more editing. Today's show is about fuck you, Tom Cotton. That's what today's show is about, people. We're saying a big ol' F you. I'm going to put that right on my shirt. I'm going to put the phone number right on my shirt. There we go. We're saying a big ol' F you today to Tom Cotton. Because for those of you who don't follow politics, quick background. Tom Cotton is a senator. He's in the U.S. Senate. There's only 100 of them. He is, he's someone that, what's the right word? I think in the old days we would have called him a hawk, which is a person that always wants war. But I think he's more of a stochastic terror influencer, to borrow from, what's the word? The vernacular of the day. Tom Cotton, even if you've never followed politics, trust me, he wants there to be violence. He likes the idea of violence. So if you're voting for him, you're kind of voting for that. And my proof is this. He posted, I believe on X, I still call it Twitter, call it whatever the fuck you want. X is a stupid fucking name, but anyway, that's Elon's problem. Tom Cotton was so mad, or pretending to be so mad, that he said to his followers, if you see peaceful protesters, in a sense, this is what he said, go ahead and use physical aggression against them. He didn't come right out and say harm them or hurt them, but he said, go ahead and rough them up a little bit, you know. Now, you can read those posts for yourself if he hasn't deleted them yet, because the jackals are never sure how much they should put out at once. That's one of their weaknesses. If they go too fast, right, like Hitler did, Hitler went so fast trying to persecute the Jews that his first attempt, even though it was violent and bloody, it turned the people against him. He alienated the moderates. So Tom Cotton is throwing suggestions out there that Americans should hurt other Americans. So we dedicated today's show. Now, other people have done it too. Mr. Trump does it all the time. He does it all the time. He's doing the Hitler playbook. If you're just joining us, we're people use the word fascist. Let me say something about the word fascist, okay? It's a confusing word. We don't need that word. Throw it out. What Donald Trump is doing is an attempt. I'm saying this dispassionately because it's what's happening. He's attempting to destroy constitutional order, but he's dressing it up as something else, a whole bunch of other things, including build the wall. Simple answers to big problems. We've had immigration problems since before Ronald Reagan. And even though I think Reagan was a shithead for closing down all the community mental health centers and state hospitals, and he should be remembered as the shithead that he is, not over glorified like some kind of, people think Reagan's a god or something. Anyway, we've had immigration problems since forever. Trump said we're going to build a wall to keep them out. And you were like, yeah. Now, I'm not saying you're dumb, but that might have been a stupid idea. First of all, you can't build a wall all the way across the border, and you probably already knew that, but it felt good to believe it, right? We're going to hear from John Cleese on that feeling. Fascism makes you feel like good things are going to happen for you, but it's a fraud. It's a way to trick you into voting for them so the billionaires and millionaires like Putin and other oligarchs, they're all over the world now. They all want to gain control of democratic governments so they can keep all their money. And they wouldn't mind a slave labor force, too. While you're at it, can you get me some slave laborers? We don't even care if it's children, they would say. So fascism is just a word. Socialism is just a word. Mr. Trump throws around all those words. We called him fascist. He called us fascist because he knows that nobody really knows what it means. And even after reading the definition, I'm not going to bore you with it. It's a boring, confusing term. Leave that term to the social scientists. They need terms so they can study stuff. We don't need that term. We just need to understand, hey, let me just tell you something. Just understand that Trump is a reboot of Hitler. He's Hitler 2.0, and I got to give him credit. He's really good at convincing you all of things that don't have any proof, but they feel good, right? He convinces you of things that feel good. That's his trick. That was Hitler's trick, too. There were some very similar characteristics in the Weimar Republic, which was the government before Hitler kind of came in, and they made him part of the Weimar Republic because they thought they could control him. Much like Mitch McConnell thought he was going to control Donald Trump. Or maybe he didn't think that. He certainly failed if he thought he was going to control him. And they failed at controlling Hitler, too, and he kind of did the same thing. And then he convinced the German people, and it was kind of like they took their eye off the ball. He said, hey, let's go ahead and give me all the power. That's what Mr. Trump is saying now. He says, if you elect me again, go ahead and give me all the power, and I'll do a whole bunch of cool shit to people that you don't like. And so you'll let me have all the power. But then what happens? What happens after he gets all the power? Well, what happened with Hitler? In the beginning, he protected all his friends who helped him get into power. But then, because he was a fucking maniac, just like Donald Trump's a fucking maniac, and even those of you who love him, you know, he's a maniac. He wants more power. He's like Mr. Burns on The Simpsons. He's never going to stop. I like to think Mr. Burns wouldn't kill people or take their children away from them at the border to punish them, to psychologically traumatize them. But Mr. Trump would happily do all of those things. He did those things. He traumatized families at the border. If you're just catching up, just Google family separation policy. And it was enacted by an attorney general at the time who had a teeny tiny bit of spine and moral code. And the Jefferson, what was his name? I'm blanking on it. Anyway, I'll come back. Trump said, I want to inflict pain on these people. And his attorney general said, well, you can take their kids away. You would have to take their kids away. That's the only thing you can do. So Trump said, let's do that thing. Beauregard Jefferson Sessions was the attorney general's name. Or Jeffrey Beauregard. I don't know. Does the Beauregard come before the Jeffrey? So Trump's a reboot of Hitler. He's Hitler 2.0. He even steals from other movements, too. There was a Make America Great movement already in this country. You don't have to take it from me. Go ask your high school social studies teacher. Stop believing everything you get on the internet, including from me. Like, why are you know why you're watching me? Probably because I tricked you into watching me by paying Facebook money so this would be recommended to you. And it might be because you agree with me, and it might be because you hate my guts, but Facebook doesn't care. And that's why it's so dangerous. It just wants you to be upset. But fortunately for you, that's pretty arrogant. What I wanted to say was Brother Seamus is here to help. I don't know, I'll be a humble servant. I don't know if I have all the answers, but I know one answer is don't just accept everything you see on the freaking internet, people. Don't just accept it. And I know some of you probably do what you think is good research, and I'm not picking on you. I'm not picking on you. I just think you should know there's probably a little bit more to it. A lot of people say they have proof, for example, that somehow the election was stolen from Donald Trump. They can't produce any proof that holds up in court. So one thing you got to ask yourself is, hey, how do we make this stuff hold up in court? By the way, going back to the title of the show, Fuck You, Tom Cotton, which we're going to do a loop for in a minute. We're going to see John Cleese talking about, some people call it autocracy. How many words would you like for the same thing? Autocracy, dictatorship, king, queen. Donald Trump wants to be all of those things. Fascism is a weird mix between like a dictator who also takes over the private sector and controls all the businesses, much like a communist dictator would do. They're all the same. Trump will call people on the left communists, Marxists, socialists, and I think sometimes he even says fascists. But you know what he's doing? It's an effective means of putting so much shit in the water that you can't, you flood the zone with shit. That's what Steve Bannon, Trump's right-hand propaganda minister, has been doing since the beginning. They're both very good at it. I'm truly impressed. I just didn't think we'd see that level of, what's the right word, people? Zealousness? I don't think we thought we would encounter that level of zealousness. Especially from a talk show host. So many of us underestimated Mr. Trump. If you're just joining the election race to save democracy, we'll call it, although democracy is a bad word too. Let me tell you something about democracy. A lot of y'all out there in the internet land, because I spy on you. I'm not going to jump into discussions on the internet because I think it's a waste of time, and it's part of how they trick you into being upset all the time. But I know some of you take issue with the idea that the United States is a democracy, and you're like, it's not a democracy because democracy is terrible, and it's, people vote, and it's, there's no representatives, and it's, what do they call it, pure democracy, if you will. We don't have a pure democracy. I don't know any country that does. I don't think you could survive with a pure democracy, but it's a word. Democracy is one of the most complicated words ever worded. You know what I'm saying? So don't get hung up on it. The question is, do you want to elect your leaders, or do you want to do what they did in the Weimar Republic, which was the government that was actually starting to do pretty well? They had started to recover, but there were too many poor people, which is kind of what's happened here, who are upset. They may not know why they're upset, but they know their lives aren't working and they don't have enough food, their wages aren't keeping up, and that's the secret. It's not the immigrants, people. If you're following along in your copybook, in your conspiracy copybook, what I want you to do is go to page 11, because that's where everything is, and scratch out immigrants at the end of the sentence that says the cause of my suffering is immigrants. Scratch it out and put in billionaires. Okay, that's the cause of your suffering. It's a simple one word. Just transpose one word. So you have a right to be upset. The people in Germany had a right to be upset too. It hadn't been too long, you see what I'm saying, since the First World War, and they were humiliated. That was part of why Hitler did what he did. He wanted revenge, just like Donald Trump does. He wants revenge too because the court in New York held him accountable. Tough shit, man. What would you say if it was Joe Biden? You'd say, tough shit. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. And one other important point, and then we'll get back to the fuck you, Tom Cotton. Mr. Trump was convicted by 12 people, some of whom were picked by him and were his own supporters, and they still convicted him. You know why? Because the evidence was overwhelming. They had to. They did their duty as a jury. That's how it works. Hunter Biden's facing the same thing. You know Trump would pardon one of his kids. Well, maybe not Don. He'd probably be like, that serves you right for snorting so much coke, Donnie. And Donnie would be like, come on, Dad, this place sucks, man. And Trump would be like, you're in the best federal prison in the country. I pulled some strings to get you there. But Dad, they're out of caviar. Sorry, son, you're going to have to tough it out. That's me being Trump as a reasonable dad. Joe Biden said he will not. I'm sure he'd be tempted to go back on this, but he said he will not pardon his son. He'll let the courts do what the courts do. That's the biggest thing that Donald Trump has in his way. He needs a court that will do as he says. Ironically, right now, they have a stranglehold on the Supreme Court. So if you're a millennial or a Gen Z person, you need to vote now. You need to go get your pen, black ink pen, and vote now. Actually, get registered first. Get registered, vote. You don't have to love Joe Biden. He's a blocker. I happen to love me some hashtag Sleepy Joe, but you don't have to love him. You may think he did not do enough to stop the genocide in Gaza. And you know, it's a valid question. He would argue, I'm sure, he's doing everything he can while also supporting Israel. That's a difficult task. The U.S. is never going to stop supporting Israel. Never, ever. But how do you stop them? If Joe had gone at him with a full frontal assault, whatever, diplomatic assault, that would have actually strengthened Netanyahu's position. He has the backing of the hard right. If you're just now getting into politics, Netanyahu is the Trump in Israel. I believe a plurality of voters in Israel don't like Netanyahu, and they want him out. And I think that's the best way to go after him. Find somebody that can fight a war but one that doesn't kill, what are we up to, 40,000 civilians, many women and children. You can't fight a war that way anymore. I mean, you can. Putin's doing it, for all you people that think Putin's super cool and whatever. Oh dear, I forgot to put on my jacket today. How am I supposed to do a proper fuck you Tom Con loop if I don't have my jacket on? You know what I'm saying? That was fun. I was working on an effect there. That'll probably be cut out and put into some kind of thumbnail. So let's review. Forget the words. It's, do you want one person to have all the power? It's a lot like Game of Thrones, people. It really is. They really capture. It's a different way of fighting. But it is very similar, where people are grabbing at power. And so on one side, you have an informed electorate that decides who gets the power. That's what we have here. And those rules are protected by a constitution. Pure democracy doesn't really work that well because you can get the mob to go crazy for anything. Now, we have some aspects of pure democracy here in the United States, like petitions. When you sign a petition in most states, if enough people sign a petition, it's a direct request to the government. And then when people lose petition drives, they get real mad. And they're like, we shouldn't have direct democracy. And then, then it's like, yeah, until you want it. So we have a mixture. We have a representative democracy, if you want to get technical about it. Canada's got a constitutional monarchy, I believe, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like they keep the monarchy title, but the queen has no power, right? Yeah. I think Mexico is pretty much the same as we are, but I think they're considered a constitutional monarchy also, maybe? Somebody check me on that. The key word is constitution, and what Mr. Trump has asked of his loyal followers, and they're quite willing to do it. The German people went along with it too. That's why I say Trump is Hitler 2.0. Let's stop playing games. It's the most contemporary comparison. So what? After the Reichstag burned, or it might have even been before the Reichstag, Hitler got the then president, who technically had more power than him, to sign a document suspending civil rights for everyone. That's what Trump wants to do too. What that meant was you had no rights of any kind because of some sort of emergency. That's what Trump's going to try to do. If he gets in there, let's say there is an actual terrorist attack, just as an example. So what Trump would do is he would, let's assume he's president, he'd be like, oh, hey, guess what? There are terrorists. We have evidence, weapons of mass destruction. There's terrorists over here. So by the way, nobody has any civil rights. And if you say anything bad about me, I'll have you arrested. Because they all do that because they're all egotistical bastards. Okay? So if you're under the spell, I want you to talk to people who disagree with you, but who are also reasonable, nice people. I'm not asking you to go start an argument. But you need to talk to other humans. That will help you break the spell. And if you are one of those other humans like me, if somebody comes to you that's a Trump supporter and they say, I didn't realize Trump would strip us of our civil rights just like Hitler did, thus collapsing the Weimar Republic, which was just starting to hit its stride. But there were just too many poor people. Too many struggling people. And that's what billionaires have done. Billionaire capitalism has turned us into, I'm stretching it here, but something akin to the Weimar Republic, where there's a government of the people that's not doing that well, but it's getting better. Or you turn it all over to some asshole who decides he's going to destroy the world, he's going to take over the world, and if he can't take over the world, he's going to destroy it. And he doesn't care if he would put children on the front line. Hitler got people to commit their 10, 11, 12-year-old, mostly boys, I imagine. He committed them to war. Just Google the film archives from World War II. You can see Hitler right before he died, greeting some troops. And look at the boys who are in that troop that he's putting in the front line because he knows they don't know how to fight, but it'll slow down the enemy. They're cannon fodder. Yeah. And Trump will use you for cannon fodder too. And Tom Cotton, you're a cunt. Now, I don't normally use that word, but I know on the internet if I use a harsh word like the C-U-N-T word, if, for example, I say purely for satirical purposes, Tom Cotton, you're a cunt. You're calling for violence? Yeah. No, I know you didn't say not to kill anybody, or you didn't say they should kill anybody, but what you didn't say is how far they should go. Should they punch people or just jostle them? Where's the line, Tom? You stochastic terrorist cunt. Where's the line? You're telling Americans to physically confront other Americans. What does that make you, Tom? I can tell you, N-A-Z-I. I said N-A-Z-I. Tom Cott's a Nazi. That's right. He's a Nazi. That's right. He's a Nazi. That's right. N-A-Z-I. Tom Cott's a Nazi. That's right. N-A-Z-I. He's a Nazi. That's right. He's a Nazi. That's right. N-A-Z-I. I don't know what position Tom Cotton might. That's right. I don't know what position he might hold in this government that wants to take away your civil rights. And that's right. Let me pause the music in the loop here. A-Z-I. Tom Cotton's a Nazi. That's okay. That's right. That's okay. We can do better than this. So I'm going to delete this. That's right. He's in. All right, now we've got our nice blank loop. We'll come back to that in a minute. I don't know what office or cabinet position. Like Tom Cotton probably will get a cabinet position out of this, or that's what he's gunning for. So Hitler did it. Hitler got Germans to be violent toward their neighbors, be they Jewish or otherwise. If you represent it, and this is the thing you have to remember about Mr. Trump, just like Adolf Hitler, he will tolerate zero opposition and he will find a way to justify violence to do it. Senators like Tom Cotton, I don't know if he's up for re-election this year or not, but if you live in Arkansas, vote his fascist ass out. But people like Tom Cotton try to get in cahoots with the leader because the leader will tolerate no opposition. That's why I love me some Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe welcomes opposition. He welcomes a good debate. He said if my son goes to jail because he lied on his gun form, which about 50% of, hell, 80% of people probably lie on their gun form, but hey, that's okay. Trump wanted so desperately to prosecute someone, so he went after Hunter. It sounds like he's guilty. But hashtag Sleepy Joe said if he needs to go to jail, he needs to go to jail. He's a grown-ass man. Let him do it. Donnie Trump would never do that. He's so afraid of jail, he's tricked y'all into thinking he's fighting for you. He's actually using you the way Hitler used the 10-year-old boys. He's like, get out there and do violent things. Tom Cotton's hoping for a cabinet position out of this, but I got bad news for you, little Tommy. Trump is never going to appoint you to his cabinet. You know why? Because he knows that there's a teeny tiny sliver, not much, but he knows there's a teeny tiny sliver of what he would call a rhino, which actually means you have a little bit of integrity and may stand up for certain things. But you think, being the fool and the cunt that you are, you think that you can manage him. That you'll be like, no, I'm going to help him. I'm going to help him stay in power. And maybe you will if you go all the way Nazi. See, Tom, if you want to join Trump, you're going to have to go all the way Nazi. Right now, you're a half-ass pussy cunt Nazi, right? By the way, I apologize to any woman in the world that owns, any human that owns a vagina. I apologize for using the C word. It's a hate word. Part of how the internet works now is when you say awful stuff, it drives your numbers up. Because love me or hate me, they might want to come see what else I'm going to say. And that's not new. There's a gentleman on the airwaves from way back. I think all good marketing people understand that no publicity is publicity, especially if it's free. And I forgot his name, the young man with the dark curly hair, wears sunglasses, he's real tall. Anyway, he was like one of the original OG shock jocks. And what they discovered is that people that hated him were listening as much as people who loved him, because he knew how to be entertaining and how to push buttons. I could push buttons. Tom Cotton's a cunt. See, I just pushed a button. Where is it? There it is. No, right there. I had it. There it is. Boop. Boop. Tom Cotton's a cunt. I don't think I'm going to put the C word in the loop because that's a little too, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy to play to the numbers if it gets the message out. I hope you'll join us and support us in this endeavor. One way you can support us here at Humans for Democracy is you can buy yourself, ladies and gentlemen, a t-shirt. You can buy yourself a t-shirt. We'll get back to Tom Cotton being a cunt in a minute, but right now I want you to feast your eyes on this here t-shirt, people. It comes in different colors. Let's look at the Purple Rush is the name of this color. Let's see. That's not giving me a rush. I'm not trying to question anybody, but I think if it was popping in the neon, it might give me a rush. The link to buy these shirts will be on our YouTube page at the bottom of the video. You can just click that link or go to bonfire.com/store/Immigrants Make Great Americans. You will see these shirts, and right now we only have one other shirt available, or one other logo, and that is Be an Anti-Racist. That doesn't have as many colors and styles available yet, but we will. We'll get there. Humans for Democracy is our host page. If you're on Facebook, if you're watching this on Facebook, you can smash the Call Now button. You can smash the Call Now button on Facebook. I'm going to pull that up so you can see what it looks like. I would be remiss if I didn't pay my bills. By the way, if you want me to be a front man for your product, be it sunglasses, body lotions, incense, or feral kitty cats, no, I wouldn't do that. I would not merchandise feral cats. I think we should give the boys a little snip. Let them go. Let them do their thing. Humans for Democracy is the host page for the Brother Seamus Show. On YouTube, we're just under Brother Seamus. On TikTok, we're Brother Seamus. I do a little bit different stuff on different channels, but it's all the same thing. I'm trying to get you to accept the idea, even though it's painful. I'm trying to get you to accept the idea that you may have been tricked by little Donnie Trump. You may have been tricked by Trump. You may have been tricked by Trump. That's a different loop. Okay. So follow us on Humans for Democracy. And I forgot to post the link for today's episode. So I'm going to do that right now because I got to be my social media person as well. Let's see, what do we got here? Let's get the link first, and then we'll pop it on over. Let's get the link and put it on Facebook. So the live link is there. Let's see if that runs. Boom, bop, doody, dat, doo. Yes, it is. It looks good, folks. We're on the air. I'm having deja vu. I've done this so many times, I feel like I've dreamed this exact scene before. Let's get back over here. Oh, we haven't looked outside yet today. Let's look outside, see what kind of day we're having. We're up here in Walla Walla, Washington, people. We're up here in Walla Walla, kicking it. We're kicking it old school on the Brother Seamus Show. I'm a licensed psychologist. I've been one for 30 years. It's hard for me to believe that, too. I know, because you're like, he looks so young. He can't have been a psychologist unless he started at 12. Well, thank you for your kind words. But I'm a licensed psychologist. I'm not going to give you my real name because too many of y'all like to make threats and shit, and I'm not down with that. But if you do want to call 509-676-6032, I will listen to anyone that has a rational point to make. If you're a hater, please don't waste my time. That'll just, by me saying that, that will make the haters want to talk to me even more. But even that, I mean, the great thing about haters is they hate your show enough. Probably gets your show noticed. I'm not saying that we should look at Facebook as a tool with which to manipulate each other, but I am using this tool. If you're watching me on Facebook, there's a real good chance I paid money not to make you watch, but to really encourage you to watch. Now, it might be a good thing. I'm trying to sell you on the idea of peaceful, democratic processes are the way that we want to solve problems, not war. But there's a contingent of billionaires, and they're all over the world. They're not just our billionaires. The U.S. and Great Britain and most of Western Europe are probably mostly responsible for creating the billionaires. But it's human nature, too. We're fighting against human nature, people. It's not Donald Trump. It's human nature. He's just really good at manipulating people to bring up their worst human nature. We all have an ugly side. We can all be tricked. Let's get some church music on. We can all be tricked. It depends on kind of in the moment. It depends on, like, where are you at in life? How vulnerable are you in the moment? Yeah, let's bring it down. That's nice. Let's bring it down to something nice and cool here, people. If you're vulnerable, first of all, this does not count as therapy, people. This does not count as therapy, although some of you may find this therapeutic. And no, this is not ASMR, but it's not the opposite of ASMR. This is the Brother Seamus Show. We're here to tell you. I'm here to tell you. I'm here to share with you and talk. And if you want to talk, 509-676-6032. Booming out on Q109 live out of Walla Walla, Washington. This is a young artist. The music you're hearing is a young artist from Western Michigan named Wicker Basket. Did some recordings for us today. We want you to think about when you're calm that you'll make better decisions. When you're calm, you will make better decisions. Facebook wants you to be upset, okay? Because they know when you're upset, you stick around longer. They really, really want you to be upset. They won't admit that, but they know that's what happened on January 6th, is that Facebook was used the same way it was used in Myanmar, that resulted, I believe, in dozens of murders. Facebook was used to inflame an audience. They want you inflamed. Once you're inflamed, if anyone stands in front of you, even a regular cop in Washington, D.C., who's just trying to do his job or her job, you'll start punching them and being violent towards them because you're so convinced that something's being taken from you. That's what Mr. Trump's special skill is. He's very good. You know how he said he's a very stable genius? I would agree with him in the one area, mass communication. He's able to lie. His superpower is that he lies without the tiniest bit of shame. He doesn't have any anymore. I don't think he owns any of the neurochemicals required for shame. So that makes him very powerful, and that's why we underestimated him, because we're like, well, he's a buffoon. Everybody will see that. And like, no, they won't. Hitler was a different kind of loser than Donald Trump, but Donald Trump's driven because he is a loser, and he knows he's a loser. I hate to put it in those terms, but Hitler was a loser too, and he went bananas, and he wanted revenge on people, and he dragged all of these so-called conservative Republicans with him. So if you're just now becoming a voter, first I want to say welcome. Welcome to the pool. The water's fine. The more people that jump in, the more people that actually vote, the more we can stop the spread. I'm not going to use the F word, the fascism word. I already used the C word a whole bunch, and I do apologize. It's a hate word. It's like the N word. I won't use that word. I could, if you're all into cancel culture, I could say all the words. But I'll get some blowback. Cancel culture is just a bunch of people that don't want blowback. Now, if you're being lied about and there's fraud, that's a different story. But hey, if you don't like, I say this, I know I'm jinxing myself, but if you don't want to be judged, don't put yourself in the public spotlight, right? You can judge me. Your brother Seamus doesn't mind some judgment. You know who else doesn't mind some critical feedback? Hashtag Sleepy Joe. Hashtag Sleepy Joe is not perfect. He's a human, just like you. You're not perfect. I think privately, hashtag Sleepy Joe loves the protests against what's happening in Gaza. You know why? It gives him support to say to Netanyahu, knock it the fuck off, dirtbag. But what we really need to say is to the lovely people of Israel, get Netanyahu out of office, please. Yes, we will keep Trump out of office. That's our deal. You get Netanyahu out, we won't let Trump back in, because he's an agent of chaos and division. And if you support Gaza, just remember, Trump and Netanyahu, thick as thieves, baby. 2 peas in a pod. Trump would encourage him to commit genocide. He would. Ask him. Because Trump doesn't have any feelings for the people in Gaza. He might have some feelings for his own children, maybe. He probably has some feelings for Melania, although hard to say. But beyond that, he doesn't care what happens to people. As I was saying before, he issued an order. If you're just now getting into the political world, one of the best reasons... Let me pause this lovely music, but I want to pause it to make this point. If you really, really support human rights vis-a-vis Gaza, vis-a-vis anywhere in the world where that's happening, you should know that a vote for Trump or any of the people that now follow him, because pretty much if you don't follow Trump right now, he'll ruin it for you. That's one of his greatest tricks. He can ruin any Republican's campaign by putting in a more extreme Republican. So we need to knock him out electorally. If you're young and you just don't know how to vote and you think Joe hasn't done enough on Gaza, we can have that discussion. But Trump's comments on Gaza have basically been Netanyahu should lay it to waste. That's basically what Trump is saying. And I believe him. I believe that he would say to Netanyahu, do whatever you want to do. Don't have any restraint. And that's a pretty scary idea. So we hope you'll think about that as you're pondering things. I hope you'll think about what it means to give up civil rights. Because, you know, the German people there for a while, they didn't really, I don't think, they didn't really realize what they had done. But once you do it, your rights just disappear. They're coming first for the women. They're coming for any human with a womb. They're coming for you. They're already here. You already know it. If you're pregnant, and even if you want to be pregnant and something goes wrong, you may need an abortion to save your life. In many states now, you're not going to get one. But more on that in a minute. By the way, people, if you're a billionaire, he's gonna fuck you too, man. I know you don't think that's the case, but by the way, this show is not for kids. If you've got little kids, I don't know, under 12, I do say some things. I say some words that aren't great. Depends on how you want to raise your kids. I won't tell you what to do. I respect parents' rights. If you leave a handgun laying on your couch cushion and your 4-year-old takes the gun and shoots another kid, should you keep your gun rights? I know it's a horrible thought, but it does happen. Do you get to keep your gun rights? Are gun rights so absolute that we can't even get rid of a fucking bump stock? Sounds to me like the Supreme Court doesn't want to just keep the populace armed. They want to keep them armed with, what amounts to military capabilities. If I was in law enforcement, I'd be horrified by this. That's another reason you want to vote for Sleepy Joe. Where is he? He's right there. Vote for Sleepy Joe, people. You don't have to love him. He may not be stopping the war in Gaza as fast as you would like, but he is trying. He wants to stop the war. Mr. Trump doesn't give a shit what Netanyahu does. We shouldn't say Israel's doing it. We should keep in mind Israel is under the control of a Trump-like character. And he's got about half the population bamboozled. Kind of like Trump here. Trump doesn't have quite as many people bamboozled. But Netanyahu wasn't, well, he was trying to be like Trump. He wanted the Jewish folks, the Israelis, to give up their court system. He tried that trick. That's the same as the Hitler trick, where he said, we're having an emergency, everybody has to give up their civil rights. It's the same game. So when I say, if you're a Trump voter, I respect your right to choose, but you are being tricked, as your brother Seamus. Hey, look, I've been a shrink for 30 years, people. I kind of can tell when people are getting tricked. I'm not perfect. It's just what I do. If you poured concrete for a living, and you said if you pour it that way, you're going to get a crack, I would listen. He will destroy the Constitution, and he pretty much is saying, if you're new and you don't want to trust me, and you shouldn't, because I'm probably using social media and paying money so that you end up watching me, but you can trust that he's going to do the same exact thing that Hitler did. And why do you trust that? Because he will tell you. I hesitate to say this, but if you don't understand the Trump effect, go to C-SPAN. I think they have all his speeches. I'm pretty sure C-SPAN, which is it's like public access TV at a national level. Just watch his rally speeches in reverse order. Start with whatever's freshest, because he's getting a little bit more kooky every day, and eventually Hitler went mad too. Hitler went mad. You can watch the series on Netflix. It's pretty impressive. It's a pretty impressive program. I also want to recommend on Hulu, there's a documentary on Jim Jones. There's a couple of them, maybe. I can't remember. I think they're both pretty good. But one of the things they explain is that kind of power, that kind of cult-like leader type power, which Trump definitely has. I mean, you got to give him credit. He knew how to make himself a cult leader, and he did it. And they all use the same moves. Hitler used the same move. I don't remember how Stalin did it, but I'm sure it was some form of trickery and violence. So Hitler didn't just take over the government. He basically coerced them into putting him in as chancellor. He didn't have all the power yet, but then when he got in there, he's like, "Hey, we're having an emergency now, so everybody's civil rights are taken away." And then he sent his thugs. to go get whoever opposed him. It wasn't specifically Jews at the time. It was whoever was opposing him, he'd go beat them. They filmed some of it. Nazis always film themselves committing their atrocities because they're so sure that when they take over, they'll suppress that kind of information. But you can't suppress that kind of information, people. I'm seeing a little spot in the curtain that looks like it's not closed right here. I don't think I care for that, people. Now that's all I'm going to see for the rest of the show. The Brother Seamus Show, folks. Today's preaching background music is brought to you by a young recording artist that goes by the name of Wicker Basket. And yes, that is a wicker basket that Wicker Basket is wearing on his wicker basket clad head. He's a young man out of, I believe he's from Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's hard to keep track of. We record all the way up here in Walla Walla, Washington, folks. Blasting out on Q109. Simulcast through public access TV and then put down into the compost heap of electrical vibrations containing audio, video data. And then we arrive at your phone or your laptop or perhaps in your car. We're not on satellite yet, but I would like to get on satellite. I don't even know how you do it. My friend Bill knows how to get on satellite. So what I was trying to get at earlier, I used the C word to talk about a sitting senator. And I felt like I should because the power of that word, even though it's a bad word. Listen up, kids. Don't use the C word. This is your brother Seamus I'm trying to talk straight at you here, folks. Don't use the C word. Hey, where are you at? There you are. I can just see you over the top of Sleepy Joe. Don't use the C word. It's a bad word. I used it on purpose to manipulate the algorithm. I used it on purpose because it'll drive traffic to my video. Perhaps. Most shocking things do. The more shocking it is, the more you'll get traffic. The question is, are we using this power to actually help us move forward? Or have the jackals usurped the power of the internet and people like Vladimir Putin run countless ads on American social media, which is completely against the law? They're doing it right now, I'm pretty sure. And those ads are used to keep you upset, to manipulate you into thinking things are more dangerous than they are. Mr. Trump wants you to think there's an invasion. There's no invasion. It's just a bunch of people coming up here to work. If it was really an invasion, where's the attack? There's been no attack. There's just been a lot of people showing up for work and working their asses off. Donald Trump famously said, if you're just joining us and you're not sure who to vote for, in 2015 he said, Mexico is sending us their worst people. I'm paraphrasing. He said Mexico is sending somehow their people and they are rapists and murderers. He wants you to think that they're the worst people in the world and that you're afraid of them. You should be afraid of them. They're really just coming to work, by and large. Are there some criminals amongst them? Of course, but there's criminals amongst us too. And ironically, it's not a huge effect, but in cities with more immigrants, the crime rate's slightly lower. Why? But why, Brother Seamus? How could the crime rate be low when it's been invaded by immigrants? Because the immigrants... Let me pause the music for this for a second. I want to make an important point about immigrants. Immigrants follow our laws better than we follow our laws. And if you think about it for a second, if you think about it for just 2 seconds, folks, it makes sense, right? If you're here without documentation, why are you going to go out and get yourself arrested? Immigrants who come here, it's not the crime of the century, by the way. Everybody when acts like crossing the border, they're criminals. It's families trying to find work. And if we're so upset about it, how come we don't do anything about the people hiring them? Right? The people, if you want to stop immigration, you could say to people, if you hire an undocumented immigrant, we're going to charge you $5 million or some shit. But they don't do that because they know we need the immigration. They know that it's helping us, but they want you to be afraid of it, right? So that's the main problem. They're tricking you into being afraid of something that you don't need to be afraid of. They're tricking you into believing that it's a bunch of armed felons. I mean, Trump went all for it. By the way, that's also another Hitler trick. He went all in. And for those of you who are young and you're just trying to, you're so sick of the Trump-Biden stuff, and you're like, they're both too old. It's like, well, maybe, but you know what? That's where we're at. We're at where we're at. And stop confusing age with capability. If you don't think Biden's up to the job, watch his most recent State of the Union speech. He's more than up to the job. He might have a couple moments. Hey, man, they don't call him hashtag Sleepy Joe for nothing. He might have a moment here and there, but don't we all? Could you do the job? Could you fly around the world and talk to people that lived through World War II? And then come back here and try to get Netanyahu to stop committing genocide? You think you could handle that? It's a tough gig, people. I'm not saying he's perfect, but if you can get you some Sleepy Joe, I think you'd be wise to have it. We're pretty terrible at voting in this country. If you're a young voter and you're just joining us, the question isn't whether these two guys are too old to be president. The question is, because that's a distraction question. If Biden fails, the VP will take over, and if Trump fails, the VP will take over. And both parties know that. So if the worst happens, there's going to be a backup hitter. So maybe concern yourself with the policies and ask yourself which side is more based on rules, that regular people should be able to make rules and that everybody should follow the rules. If you like that, you probably should vote for Sleepy Joe, hashtag Sleepy Joe. If you want a guy who's basically copying Hitler's playbook, then you'd vote for Trump. And what you're going to see between now and the election is Trump's going to he's going to start threatening more. Here's the thing. Trump has more to lose than Adolf Hitler did in a way. Hitler had been to jail, right? He's an ex-con. They're very similar. If you don't believe me, watch the Netflix special on Hitler. I forget what it's called. It's probably just called Hitler. And then ask yourself, isn't this what Donnie Trump is doing? Because it is. You'd be right. You'd be correct in saying, hey, this seems real similar to Trump's program. All right. I hope you're all enjoying your day. This is the Brother Seamus Show. My screen is stuck because I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you that Netflix page, but you know what? You can figure it out. You know how Netflix works. By the way, if you work for Netflix and you want Brother Seamus to rep for certain programs, I certainly will. If I believe it's going to help the people, I'll certainly be happy to help. I'm not gonna shill for just anyone, but if it's a product I actually use. Now, right now, I don't have the numbers, so I'm sure you're not interested. People are probably laughing. Oh my God, they're laughing at me. But I think we're gonna pick up some steam here. I got a feeling we may pick up some steam one of these days. It would help if you called in. 509-676-6032. If we get some real callers, this show I might really actually take off. If you buy any t-shirts from bonfire.com /store/humans for democracy, or just Google bonfire humans for democracy, and you'll see our t-shirts that say immigrants make great Americans. If you like those t-shirts, I invite you to buy one, and that money will go towards promoting this program. Every penny I get right now, I'm not going to pay myself a penny. Every penny I get will go toward making more people see this show, where I do things like create a loop out of the phrase, "Fuck you, Tom Cotton." All right, let's do that right now. We'll look at some voting rights numbers here in a second. You guys don't really need to see this shit. Check us out on Facebook, Humans for Democracy. On YouTube, we're under the Brother Seamus Show. On TikTok, we're under the Brother Seamus Show. I'm probably going to start someday broadcasting from Twitch. Right now, YouTube is probably the best way to reach the largest audience, assuming I get some followers. Oh, wow, I have 506 on Facebook. I don't think I've gained any on YouTube just yet. Let's see how I can't really see it on YouTube. Whatever. Maybe if I do that, put this over here. I'm going to drag some shit around, see if I can get some numbers for you. It's also for history, so I can remember where I was at. Let me view my current channel. So it looks like over on YouTube, at Brother Seamus Show, we've got 52 subscribers. There are some links there that you can check out. One is to our Facebook, one is to Kick-Ass Yard Signs. That's a secondary merch company. We're on Twitter at For The Vote, Instagram, Humans for Democracy. 52 subscribers, people. Can we do better than that? I think we can. I think I can break 100 by the end of summer. That's my goal. You got to have realistic goals, people. But let's do a lovely loop. Now we've got nothing on the loop right now. I just recorded like 30 seconds of silence, and we're going to do the "Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you," okay? Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. I should probably give myself a nice beat. That'll probably screw up the recording a little bit, but I so enjoy having a nice beat that I can't go too far, too long without a nice beat. So let's just we're not even going to get fancy today. We're just going to get about 8 bars. Let's do 12 bars. We can do 12 bars, right? That's not too much to ask. Here we go. This is a version of Fruity Loops. It's not the latest version, but it is a version. Let's see how it sounds. I'm running it on on a trial. This is a trial version of Fruity Loops, people. You can get this at home and play with it. It's wonderful. You can pull almost anything you want in there. I'm going to make this go down and get bigger. So that feels like that's 130 beats a minute. I'm going to drop it a little. I would like to get down in the 100 zone. Seems to be where I'm at. I was getting a little ahead of it there. I don't like the clap sound much, but I do love the hi-hat, so I'm just going to... Oh, that's a snare. Sorry. I'm going to throw in some hi-hat. I like a little snare. It keeps you real, you know what I mean? Oh, I went too far. Alright, that's pretty good. So there you go. That's just a basic loop. The snare is a little too loud. I'm going to bring it down. Now I'm going to sing over this. What you can't see is that I have a little looping pedal called the Ditto Looper. D-I-T-T-O Looper. If you like doing this, get yourself a Ditto Looper. The new ones are a little easier to use. I have the old one, so I got to do it old school, people. Here we go. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you. It's a little fast, but I like it. Let me see if I can get it. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Yeah, that's pretty good. I thought it was too fast, but I think I can do it. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, blah, blue, blah, 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 blue, blah, 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 blue. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Hear how we did on the loop. Here it comes. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton. I'm going to try to drop it in where it's in sync. I mean, it'll line up in sync, but I didn't like that. I didn't like that line up. You, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. All right, let's pause the beats. I'm going to try a little trick here. We'll just do the audio. You, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. It's a sing-along, people. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. That's right, people. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, This is the Brother Seamus Show, where we sing fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom. We sing it all day long because he called for violence. Directly called for Americans to be violent against other Americans. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. That shit doesn't even matter anymore. These Gen Alpha kids are going to be voting in what, 5 years? You know what they're going to do? They're going to get rid of the two-party system. They're going to go for ranked choice voting. You know why? Because they know it's bullshit. And they're going to get rid of you, Tom Cotton, because you're a fucking extremist. You're a fucking extremist, Tom Cotton. Now, I know you're probably just auditioning. You're probably just auditioning for Trump, right? You want to be on his cabinet. He's never going to choose you, Tom. He's not. I mean, he'll use you. He'll use you the way he uses everybody. And by the way, I think I was making this point earlier. I want to make a point for the billionaires. He'll fuck you too. Tom Cotton's not a billionaire, but he'll get fucked too. You know why he'll get fucked? Because Trump fucks everybody, man. That's how they do. Watch the Netflix special on Hitler. Trump is just pretty much plagiarizing what Hitler did. He's got slightly different dynamics to deal with, but he's got an angry white populist who somehow thinks that Joe Biden stole an election but didn't leave one shred of evidence. Not one. In fact, the people claiming it was stolen ended up committing fraud. And they're being prosecuted. And if Trump really cared about y'all in jail, all you Jan 6 people in jail, I get it. You were fooled. Some of you knew what you were doing and some of you didn't. That's what the judge is for, right? He could have helped you with your legal stuff. He could have kept you out of jail, probably. If you had enough money, you could stay out of jail like he does. But he didn't come and help you then. Now he's promising you he'll help you later with a pardon. You got to trust that? Do you remember the wimpy character from Popeye? I'd gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. That needs some echo, doesn't it? Let me put on my performing glasses and do that one again. Sam, if you're listening, this will be a good sample of this is about the loudest I get during my show. But with echo, it makes everything go crazy. I'd gladly pay you on Tuesday for a hamburger today. I clipped slightly. I'd gladly pay you on Tuesday for a hamburger today. All right, I think the echo is making it clip too much. I'm going to turn that echo off. I might leave on just a hint. I like a little taste. A little taste of echo. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. This is the Brother Seamus Show, where we like to express our free speech rights by making little ditties. It's a little ditty about little ditty about Tom Cotton suggesting that Americans should attack other Americans. He may have taken down Fuck you, Tom Cotton. You may have taken that post down. If you're good on Twitter, check Tom Cotton's account. I don't feel like it because he's such a dipshit. I'm not going to waste much more time with him. But I did want to make a loop. I did want to make a loop with Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, blah blah blah. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. I hope you'll vote him right out of office. Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Hashtag Arkansas. Hashtag vote. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you. Some people ask me if I'm trying to create my own cults. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. They're like, Brother Seamus, how are you any different than these other would-be cult leaders? And I'd say, well, I only have 56. I only have 56 followers on YouTube. I got 500 on Facebook, so that's pretty good. The rule of being in my cult is that you must think for yourself. That's the only rule to join the cult, but you have to think for yourself at all times. Okay? Don't get your lies from Facebook. Don't get your lies from Facebook. Facebook is so full of lies now. And you know why? Because they don't, well, two reasons. One, they make more money when they let people lie. And there's no punishment. There's no civil liability. You can't really sue them even when they hurt you. Even when they harm society, you can't really sue them, not in the United States, because they bought a law. Little Donnie Zuck, he went down to the DMV and he was like, is this where I buy a law? And they said, no, you need to go out to D.C., write them a check. What do you call your law, sir? Well, I call it Section 230. Well, what's it say? Well, it's mostly a bunch of gobbledygook, but there's 12 words in there that say that you can't sue me for anything other people put on Facebook. You can't sue Facebook for the way Facebook is used by the common person. So little Donnie Z, he wrote out probably a couple mil. And he got he probably won over Democratic and Republican senators to get that bill through, and House people. So now they can do whatever they want. They can traffic in lies. They can bring harm upon you by allowing people to lie about you on the internet. And by the time anybody figures out what has happened, you're already getting stalked. That's what the internet does. That's what Section 230 does, is it protects internet con artistry and hate speech. If you're just joining us, if you're a young Gen Z, or, I don't know if Gen Alphas can vote yet. Sleepy Joe, you might not love him. You might be too old. He's too old. Oh, my God. Yes, that's a trick, man. They're trying to, whatever. Kamala will take over. It'll be fine. What are their policies, people? You young Gen Z, maybe Gen Alpha, y'all are getting ready to vote. There's something I want you to know about American voting. We're real bad at it. Americans are terrible at voting. Let me show you. You don't believe me? I came with the receipts today. Mother effers. I got the receipts. So what I'm going to share with you here is just some basic Basic numbers about voting. We are 31st in the country, people. 31st, which is pretty pathetic. Or sorry, 31st in the world. We're the 31st worst country at voting, or best, depending on how you want to define that. So look right there. Now in this last election, 66% of people that are actually eligible to vote voted. But look at this number. I want to draw your attention to this. The United States is 31st. We're behind Greece, Austria, Portugal, Slovakia, Poland, France, Mexico. They're all beating us. But if you can get registered, for some reason 90% of Americans will turn out when they're actually registered. So if you're sitting at home afraid that Donald Trump is Hitler 2.0, because he is, even if you love him, even if you start to have feelings of you start to quaver, you know what I mean? If you start to get the quavers on you, your brother Seamus understands. And what I want you to do is go out and get people registered to vote. Just do that. If enough people vote, it washes out extremist candidates like Mr. Trump. He would probably agree with you that he's an extremist, and that's why he works so hard to make sure that people don't vote. He wants his people to vote, but he knows that he doesn't have enough people, and he can't really do anything about it. He can't really grow his ranks too much. He's trying. Some of you are falling for it, but be careful. That boy's a jackal. You know what I'm saying? That boy that's got a personality that even a mother couldn't love, which I'm afraid was part of the problem. So if you want to help, just get people registered, because for some reason, and I don't see this, the chart here doesn't really show this effect. Look at the difference. We'll say it's at 66 because this is anybody who's old enough to vote. But if you go with who's eligible to vote, we had 66% turnout in 2020. From 66 to 94, 28% change once you're registered in the likelihood that you'll vote. So you know what that means, even though we don't know why exactly. Everybody should be working on getting everybody registered. If you're already registered, there's a 90% chance you're going to vote here in these fair United States. So that's your homework. That will be on the exam. What's the single best thing you can do to prevent Hitler 2.0, aka Little Donny Pants? The best thing you can do is get people registered to vote right now. Go do it. Wait, after my show, you go register people to vote. After the show. So let's see who the winners are. We should shout out the winners. Let's get some good old looping tunes going here. Let's get some loops going. Oh, we gotta pause. We gotta pause our loop. Yeah. That's a different beats per minute, people. You're listening to Oh Yeah here. That's today's looping track. We had organ music by Wicker Basket. This is produced by Sam Kenny. Let me throw his name up there before I forget. You can still call us. The lines are still open. I'll be signing off here in about 15 minutes. Yeah. So don't waste any time. Give us a call. The song you're hearing right now is called Oh Yeah. It's not available yet. You can only hear it on this show. But we will be making it available soon. We're working on one more mix. You don't want to rush the artistry. That's Sam's job. He's working on the mix right now as we speak. I'm your brother Seamus. I just do the performing and I write the little loops. Like Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. We will do that one more time before we go. I'm not ashamed of my fondness for Sleepy Joe. I'm not ashamed at all. Oh, I was going to show you the voters. Let's look at the voters before I go on my last and final break. So Uruguay is number one. Uruguay, 94% of voting age population turned out. 90% of registered voters turn out. That's interesting. It doesn't seem like that should work that way, but we'll dig into that later. Turkey's number two. I would not have guessed Turkey being number two. I think Erdogan was flirting. He was kind of a Trump for a while, but he seems like maybe he chickened out, which is good. I shouldn't say chickened out. That'll just upset him. All of these guys that want to be dictators, Hitler, Trump, Stalin, they're all such sniveling, thin-skinned little pricks. You can't say anything to them. You could call me all kind of names. Fuck if I care. So Turkey's number two, Peru is number three, Indonesia, Argentina, Sweden, Philippines, Belgium, New Zealand, South Korea, Denmark, Australia, Iceland, Netherlands, Taiwan, Brazil. Israel's beating us pretty badly. They've got a 70, looks like Israel's got, which is good news. They've got a 73% turnout, but it looks like their registered voters are only at 67. That's puzzling to me, but they're doing way better than we are. If you're a political scientist, please tell me how you can have 73% of eligible voters turn out, but only 67% of registered voters vote. But they're way ahead of us. Look at the old United States down here. 62, well, it's up to 66 now. Israel, 73. Theirs is probably a little higher too, 74, 75, if we adjust for who's actually eligible. So there'd be Israel's, just a good way to think of it, we're 10 points behind Israel in our voter turnout. 10 points. And Uruguay is beating us so badly. They're just beating us into submission, and we're at 66, and they're at 94. People, are we going to take this kind of beating lying down? Now, there are some countries that are worse than us. Surprisingly, Switzerland has poor voter turnout. Now, we could read that as something alarming, or we could just read that as the Swiss system. Nobody much cares to challenge it. Maybe. South Africa, not too good, folks. If you want to hang on to anti-apartheid, we got to have more voting than that. You're worse than we are. Only 66% of registered voters turn out in South Africa. I thought some of these countries would be better. It's very interesting that we're ahead of Canada. But again, maybe Canadians aren't as worried about what their government's trying to do. But hey, I know you Canadians think you're immune to fascism, and you probably are mostly immune. You're more immune than we are. But don't think for a minute that it can't happen there. Your brother Seamus is here to tell you it can happen anywhere. Fascism, or this thing where one person takes over power and says they're going to rule, it's the one ring above all. And that's what Mr. Trump is asking for. He's asking you to give him all the power. And little sniveling snakes like Tom Cotton are auditioning for him. Tom chose a unique way to audition where he says things on Twitter encouraging whoever, his followers, Americans, to go out and attack Americans who are protesting against the mayhem and butchery that is Gaza. So he's telling Americans to get physically confrontational with peaceful protesters. Now you're going to argue, well, they're not peaceful. Well, then let the cops handle it. So far, most of the violence has come from the cops, which does happen. That's a different show, though. It's a different problem. Yeah. Cops should be brilliant de-escalators. That's who we need out there. There are other roles for people who aren't good at de-escalating, but when you're dealing with a large crowd of people who are largely peaceful, you don't need cops that escalate. But some people are not wired for that. Some people aren't wired to understand that an angry mob isn't necessarily a violent mob, and how do you keep it that way? So, fuck you, Tom Cotton, for suggesting that Americans should harm other Americans. We're a peaceful movement here at the Brother Seamus Show. We're a peaceful movement that encourages every American that can hear me talking to go out right now. Put on your raincoat if you have to. Go out and get people registered to vote. Because for some reason in the U.S., if you're registered, your chance of showing up to vote is like 94%. Now, it's not, I'm committing a cardinal sin of science. I'm implying that getting registered is what causes you to vote. But we don't know the answer to that. We know that being registered correlates, it correlates to the act of going out and voting. I think it's just basically human nature where you say, well, I've gone to all the trouble of registering, I should probably go ahead and go vote. That's my guess. All right, the Brother Seamus Show is coming to an end. We're going to do one last listen to the loop. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Let's put a beat on it. Fuck you. Then we'll check in with John Cleese on Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. We'll check in with John Cleese on TikTok before we go. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. John Cleese, a comedian of Monty Python fame. Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. The beat's gonna slide off a little bit because I don't have auto quantize on my ditto pedal, but we'll just roll with it. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton. Fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Don't trust Tom Cotton, fuck you. Anyone that tells you
Tom Cotton, fuck you.
they only want to be
Fuck you,
emperor
Tom
for a
Cotton,
day,
fuck you,
that they
Tom
only want to be
Cotton, fuck
king
you,
for a
Tom Cotton,
day.
fuck you. Fuck you,
Don't
Tom
trust
Cotton,
them,
fuck
people.
you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you. Fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom Cotton, fuck you, Tom
Hey, you know what I
Cotton,
forgot?
fuck you. Fuck
I forgot to tell y'all, I was about to address the billionaires. And I think I may have said what I wanted to say, but let me try to say it one more time. If you're a billionaire and you're legit, you should always be voting for rules-based order, which is a representative government where the elections actually work and we pick the people we want. And that if you claim fraud, you have to prove fraud. That's Trump's biggest trick. He made you think the election was fraudulent, but he never proved it was fraudulent. He's got nothing, never had it. But if you're a billionaire, do you really want a guy like Trump being able to rule by fiat, they call it, which just means he can do whatever the fuck he wants? If he wants to take your money, he's going to take it. If he doesn't like what you say about him, he'll do exactly what Vladimir Putin does, and he'll either poison you, or he'll arrest you, or he'll just, most likely, what most of them do, they bend the knee, just like on Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. They bend the knee so that they can keep some of their money. But he'll probably want halvesies. I think that's what I think Vladimir Putin got halvesies off of most of his rich people. So now some of you billionaires are thrilled. You think it's cool. You think it's cool to have a dictator, and you think, well, I'll be on a dictator's good side. Maybe. Maybe he wakes up one day and says, gee, I sure like your life. I like your house. I like your wife. I'm just going to take it. And you can't do anything about it because you just helped him get rid of the rules-based order. So for you Gen Alphas that are almost ready to vote, you Gen Zers, and the millennials, y'all got massive numbers of voters. You could flip us into a truly post-racial society. You could flip us into a society that has healthcare for everyone, guaranteed. Housing for everyone, guaranteed. We could do those things, the things Bernie Sanders talked about. If you like what Bernie Sanders had to say, some of you don't know him, also go to C-SPAN. Compare what Bernie Sanders says in a speech to what Donald Trump says in a speech. Just compare the two. And ask yourself, which one do you want to vote for? You can't vote for your brother Seamus, even though I know you probably want to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, 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 yeah. Let me get a little echo on there. Oh, 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 yeah. 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 Oh. Do you wanna go? Vote for Sleepy Joe. Do you wanna go? Vote for Sleepy Joe. Oh, yeah. It's kind of cheesy, but it works. That's what we call direct appeal. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Vote for Sleepy Joe. Vote for Sleepy Joe. Vote for Sleepy Joe. Vote for Sleepy. Vote for Joe. Vote for Joe. Vote for Joe. Sleepy Joe. Vote for Sleepy Joe, vote for Joe, vote for Sleepy Joe.
Yeah.
I know some of y'all are mad at him. He's not perfect. But he's not the great destroyer. He's suing for peace. You may not see it, you may not agree with it, but he's out there doing his thing. I am not affiliated in any way, shape, or form with the Biden campaign. Brother Seamus is his own person. I'm my own person. And I'm simply recommending to all the new voters, the young voters, maybe you should give Sleepy Joe a try. Oh, Sleepy Joe, where'd you go? I said, oh, Sleepy Joe, 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 hashtag Sleepy Joe. Oh, Joe, where did you go? Sleepy Joe, we gotta go. We gotta go, Sleepy Joe. I'm gonna say it one more time. If you're feeling powerless, if you're feeling upset, if you feel like there's nothing you can do, that's a lie. As Walter Sobchak reminds us in the great film, The Big Lebowski, that's just the stress talking. Wise words from one Walter Sobchak. If you can get together with your friends and get people registered, you don't even have to discuss who they're voting for. You can just say, we want you to be registered. I hope you'll vote. If they ask you, tell them what you think. Donnie Chaos Pants, who's imitating Hitler, I call it Nazi 2.0. You may not agree with me. But even you billionaires, man, if that dude gets too much power, what the fuck do you think he's going to do with it? He's going to fuck you too, man. Just like another character on The Big Lebowski by the name of Jesus. And then that nihilist at the end, I forget which one, I think it was the tall one, was yelling, I fuck you in the ass, or I fuck you too, I fuck you too. Or no, I think he was yelling, I fuck you in the ass. Whatever, this is not a kid's show, but if you haven't seen The Big Lebowski, it's all kinds of drip. That's right, I said drip. I think my outfit is drip. I don't know if The Big Lebowski can be drip. I don't really, I don't speak the lingo. The lingo? I don't speak the lingo very good. Not yet, anyway. All right. I think I'm out of things to say, and now all we have to do is I'm going to show you John Cleese. John Cleese helps explain why people like Trump are so good at taking over people's minds. And it's because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel like there's an easy answer to the complicated question of their lives. Their lives haven't maybe worked out the way they would like, and they always feel like they're on the short end of the stick because they are. Keep that in your mind. If you're out there registering voters and somebody says, I feel like Trump's sticking up for me, remember, they feel like they've been taken advantage of because they have been. But not by Joe Biden. Capitalism, people. We've all been taken advantage of by capitalism. I'm not saying we got to burn. You don't want to burn the whole thing down, people. When you burn the whole thing down, you know what you get? You just get to live in the ashes. So let's build on it. Let's improve it. Let's get more mental health cops on the street. Let's require to be a police officer carrying deadly force, you have to have what is essentially the equivalent of a bachelor's degree at least. It doesn't have to be in a traditional four-year college. And some cops should be dedicated just to mental health and just to de-escalation and not to using deadly force. We're going to get there, but we're going to need the millennials, the Gen Zers, and the Gen Alphas when they're able to vote. And maybe you can get some universal health care going at the same time. That's why they're so afraid of y'all voting. You have the numbers, and you have the passion, and you have the humanity. So if you feel down and frustrated, just start asking your neighbors if you can help them get registered. Of course, get yourself registered first and figure out how the system works. It's pretty easy. Some states make it hard. Learn what your state requires and do it. And be friendly. Don't even ask them who they're voting for. Just say, I want you to be registered to vote. I hope you vote. Because the more of us that vote, the more representative our government becomes. Unless we turn it over to a madman. Again. Yeah. That's right, people. Brother Seamus is here. Flying the democracy juggernaut. Can I fly a juggernaut? I don't know if juggernauts get airborne, whatever it is. We're going to keep fighting until we can't fight anymore. So get out there, get your people to vote. Practice nonviolence, everybody. Yeah. Don't let Tom Cotton fool you into doing violence. That's never the answer. We've all kind of agreed on that. None of us like the violence. Well, that's not true. Some of us like the violence. And those of us who don't, those of us who want to live in a rule-based system, it's not always fair. It doesn't always work. It's messy. Corruption happens, but at least we have a way to fight the corruption. At least we know how to fight it. Oh, that's right. I forgot we were going to do some John Cleese. Okay, here we go. Bear with me, people. Or don't. I don't care. Let's see. Where did I hide it? Where did it go? Let's look at my profile and my favorites, because I think I favorited it. Oh, yes. Here we go. I'm going to keep the music going because I don't want to violate copyright. I think they'll ding me for copyright if I don't have some tunes going. So I'm going to bring this down, but I'm going to leave it on. I'm going to leave it on a little bit so that the TikTok bots don't get me. But they probably have figured this trick out, so they probably will get me.
A nastier, harsher atmosphere everywhere, more abuse and bother boy behavior, less friendliness and tolerance and respect for opponents. All right, but what we never hear about extremism is its advantages. Well, the biggest advantage of extremism is that it makes you feel good because it provides you with enemies. Let me explain. The great thing about having enemies is that you can pretend that all the badness in the whole world is in your enemies and all the goodness in the whole world is in you.
There you go.
Attractive, isn't it? So, if you have a lot of anger and resentment in you anyway, and you therefore enjoy abusing people, then you can pretend that you're only doing it because these enemies of yours are such very bad persons. And that if it wasn't for them, you'd actually be good-natured and courteous and rational all the time.
And let me just insert here that when you start to believe that your enemies, quote unquote, are very bad people, that's the beginning of what we call dehumanization. That's what psychologists call dehumanization. So if you can think of them as bad enough or threatening enough, or that they don't deserve human rights like you, that's when you start to become able, all of us could do this, unfortunately, you become able to commit acts of violence against your fellow human because you've dehumanized them. They're less than human to you.
So, if you want to feel good, become an extremist. Okay, now you have a choice. If you join the hard left, they'll give you their list of authorized enemies. Almost all kinds of authority, especially the police, the city, Americans, judges, multinational corporations, public schools, furriers, newspaper owners, fox hunters, generals, class traitors, and, of course, moderates. Or, if you'd rather be
and just an explainer here, of course I'm a lefty, But if the left goes too far, that's extremism too. Extremism isn't limited to the right. It just so happens that it's on the right now. And that seems to be where it's extremism on the right seems to be real trendy today because of social media, I'm sure. But it could be on the left too. Just saying.
Extremist on the hard right, no problem, fine, you still get a lovely list of enemies, only they're different ones. Noisy minority groups, unions, Russia, weirdos, demonstrators, welfare sponges, meddlesome clergy, peaceniks, the BBC, strikers, social workers, communists, and of course, moderates. And upstart actors. Now, once you're armed with one of these super lists of enemies, you can be as nasty as you like and yet feel your behaviors morally justified. So you can strut around abusing people and telling them you could eat them for breakfast and still think of yourself as a champion of the truth, a fighter for the greater good, and not the rather sad paranoid schizoid that you really are. Seriously though, we've heard a lot about extremism recently, nasty.
So let me just say, you're probably not a paranoid schizoid, which it's not really a thing, but it's kind of a funny line. And, you know, John Cleese is a funny guy. It's a biting satirical look at getting sucked into extremism. And this is from, I don't know what year. Let's see
A
if it
harsher
says.
atmosphere everywhere, more abuse and bother boy behavior, less
Bother boy.
friendliness and tolerance and respect for opponents. All right, but what we never hear about extremism is its advantages. Well, the biggest advantage of extremism is that it makes you feel good because it provides you with enemies. Let me explain. The great thing about having enemies is that you can pretend that all the badness in the whole world is in your enemies and all the goodness in the whole world is in you. And all the goodness in the whole world is in you. And all the goodness in the whole world, the goodness in the whole world, the goodness in the whole world is in you. Goodness in the whole world is in you. The whole world is in you. World is in you. Attractive, isn't it? Attractive, isn't it? So, if you...
So there you have it, people. There you have it from John Cleese, a wonderful comedian. Even if he's not your cup of tea, he makes a good point. It looks like this was reposted. So I don't know where it originated. And I don't see... No, so let's see if he tells us. Let's see if Mark tells us in his. John Cleese, 1987. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for including that. So listen, we're all pretty much the same, people. We're all pretty much the same. We want our families to be safe. We want our children to go to good schools. We don't want a religious minority making a deal, an unofficial deal, with a cult leader. The religious minority I'm thinking of, and I'm sure you're thinking of it too, they would like to end abortion. They would like a nationwide ban. They've been very clear about that. So if you're a Gen Z millennial voter, do you really want to let a national abortion ban go into effect, even if you don't agree with it? Because women will die. Women will die because the doctors will be too afraid to perform an abortion that might save their lives. Even if they wanted to keep the pregnancy, sometimes you need an abortion to save your life. It's just that simple. And if you don't believe me, just ask women who've been pregnant multiple times. Things go wrong. And we're just going to leave them sitting in the waiting room in the at the emergency department? Oh, no, you're not sick enough yet. So that's the kind of thing we want to avoid. I think that's the kind of thing John Cleese was warning about. Did you notice both sides hate the moderates? Your brother Seamus is a proud moderate. I'm also kind of a lefty redneck. So, you know, what's in a name, right? They really, really... So Trump made a deal with the far right fundamental Christians, evangelical Christians. They want to get rid of abortion. Trump doesn't give a shit about abortion. You should know that by now. But he knows that they're the seat of his power. Because they've tricked Christians into believing that Donald Trump is their savior. And it was a political bargain they both made. And if you're okay with that, then by all means, vote for Donnie Trump. But if you would like women to keep bodily autonomy, freedom, and the ability to get health care when they need it, probably got to vote for some Sleepy Joe. Ooh, papa doodle ooh. That is our show for today. I've been on the air for too long. But, you know, it's a beautiful Saturday here in Walla Walla, Washington. I hope you'll think about your friends out east. We're way out west here, but we're thinking about our friends on the eastern middle part of the country. Is going to be dangerously hot this week. It's going to be really hot here in Walla Walla as well. Unusually hot for us, I believe, if I read the weather right. One more time, give it up for Sam Kinney, the music producer. Oh, oh, yeah. Oh. I'm your brother Seamus. I'm a licensed psychologist. One day somebody's going to call in. Somebody's going to call into this program and we're going to talk about something. But until then, I'm glad you're listening. I hope you'll follow us and help us run counter speech ads against false information and hatred. Nonviolence is the answer, but we have to do it together. It doesn't work if we do it in isolation. Lone wolves can commit violent acts in isolation, but peace takes cooperation. It takes a big team. I'm in. I hope you're in with me. I know I could edit this show down to be this show could be about 11 minutes long. And I probably will do that. But until then, #SleepyJoe.